Good morning, everyone. It is early on a Tuesday, and I woke up to a really exciting email in my inbox from Unsplash. We've talked about Unsplash before. I started contributing free photography through the Creative Commons license with the Unsplash website about 2 years ago. And it has just continued to be this amazing format for me to spread my work globally, to have people interested in the work that I'm creating. And then today I got a note that one of my photos, this one right here, that had actually been created for a Facebook Live that I did with Jenny Melrose just a couple of weeks ago, had been selected for a curated collection. And these are really fun because, for instance, with this collection, Ucraft has selected 10 artists, and they're giving away a bunch of freebies, including a 1-year subscription to their website builder. So if you're still on the fence about whether it's worth it to submit photography through Unsplash, then I just wanted to offer you a huge thumbs up and tell you it is worth it to give away your work sometimes. I know that there can be some real conflicts of interest between wanting to make sure that you're paid, but also trying to get your work spread. And in this case, I found that Unsplash is a fantastic forum. I also, when I looked at this picture, realized that there's a huge rad editing technique that I wanted to share with you. And so I have pulled up, so this was obviously shot on a blue background. We talk a lot in this group about the importance of having a blue background because it just makes your picture so beautiful. But lately, I've actually been using a trick that I was inspired by Lindsay Cotter from Cotter Crunch, and it's been such a great little secret to have in my wheelhouse when I'm editing in Lightroom. I thought that you guys might also want to learn it. So this is a picture that I shot on a blue background. The two backgrounds between this one and this one are very, very similar in color. As you can see, this one was created a couple of months ago with like a lighter blue. I posted about this in the group to show some of the colors that I had painted. So if you're interested in making a blue background like this, go ahead and search blue background in the Facebook group and you'll find some great tips. So we obviously have a really colorful platter, and you can see that the colors right now are, this is raw right out of the camera. It's like ho-hum. You can see that there's certainly some promise here in this photo, but I just wanted to show you a couple of the tricks that I've learned that can really help your photo pop, but also this one specific Cotter trick that you're going to love. So if I was going to pull this into my Lightroom, then I usually, as mentioned in a previous tutorial, pull down the highlights and pull up the shadows. That does some crazy looking stuff with HDR. It looks a little bit HDR when you pull those shadows, but when you boost the contrast, then it starts to look really, really cool. You can see that I have a really yellow-green tint here, and so I'm just going to kind of pull my light up and start playing with this excuse me, because I really want a bluer hue to this photo. I just think that it looks so much more welcoming than that yellow 1970s fake lighting look. So I've pulled my temp up here toward the blue side, and maybe I'm going to pull just a little bit of pink. Let's see if I add a little bit of pink. Yeah, so I like this kind of purpley hue. So, you could say, well, that's pretty good, but what I would say when I'm looking at this is that this orangish cutting board is still coming in really, really yellow. So I'm going to go down here to where it says HSL, color, black and white, and I'm going to hit my hue button. And actually, this is one of the tricks. I always work in this format, the HSL format, but if you click over here on all, then what it does is it extends all of these slider bars so that you can see everything. And then if you click color, it pulls it out by color. So that was the first trick that Lindsay Cotter taught me when she came over the other day, and I was so excited because this just becomes like a really fun, quick, simple way to work on your hue, saturation, and luminance by color. So here I am. I'm not so happy with my oranges. So what I'm going to do is instead of having my slider bar here in the middle, I'm going to pull my oranges a little closer to the red side because I want to make that kind of pinky. And then I'm actually going to pull my orange saturation down because I just do not love that much orange. And then I'm going to pull my luminance up. And so you can see that that makes like a huge difference in popping. Of course, it's going to pop my skin color, which is a little bit scary, but we'll fix that in a second. And now that I pull that luminance up, I think it needs a little yellow back. So I'm just going to kind of tinker with these a bit until I get it just right. And then maybe I'm going to pull the luminance of my reds up just a smidge. This watermelon radish right here could use a little bit of a color pop. So, you know, things are looking pretty good. This is definitely more vibrant than the original picture. So we're making pretty hot progress. Oh, now you're seeing the edited picture, so I don't know. Let's see, here's the before and after. Let's see. Oh my goodness, it's not going to pull it up. Anyway, I'll show you in a minute. So now this is the big and glorious trick, is that especially when you're on a blue background, and this can work even just when your shadows are a little bit blue, but on a blue background, watch what happens. Since very few pieces of food are actually blue, you can start to play with the saturation and luminance and just create this like incredible look. Look at this. So the food still stays all of these bright poppy colors, and now I can change my blues and create just like a tremendous variety of looks without in any way, shape, or form causing issues with those food colors. You'll see my blueberries change a little bit, but not a lot. So anyway, just another fantastic trick. You can go super moody. You can change the hues to kind of turquoises or more purples. You can pull that saturation up, leave the luminance up. You can leave the luminance down and pull the saturation down. They're just like all sorts of really fun ways to play with the final look of your photo when you shoot on blue, and then start playing with these blue colors, and not just play with them, but like play with them dramatically. So I'm going to say that this is making me quite happy right now. I get this like really soft, moody blue. It reminds me of a French farmhouse. One thing that is really standing out to me right now is like my yellows are really feeling a little bit strong. So maybe I'm going to take my yellows down a little bit, or pull my luminance on my yellows up a smidge, and maybe I'm even going to make them just a little more orange. And so anyway, there you go. Now the last thing that I have are these like creepy looking old lady hands. So what I'm going to do is come, excuse me, to the very top where my brush tool is. I'm going to drag my brush tool, you can see it here. I'm going to drag it so it's kind of tiny because I want it about the size of my fingers. And I'm just going to rub that brush tool on my hands. I'm going to try not to get it anywhere but on my hands. And you can see that the center circle is really where the strongest portion of the brush goes. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure that everything is dead center except the clarity and the sharpness. I'm going to pull way down. And you're going to see that what this does is it takes away all of those 40-year-old wrinkles. And then a trick that actually I've always done, and then when Lindsay Cotter was over here the other day, she also said she always pulls up the yellows on skin. And I've also found that that's a great way to go. And I'll often pull down the highlights just because I don't want my hands to be like any kind of center of attention. They are a framing tool. They are not a center of attention. So sometimes I'll pull the shadows down, and then I almost always pull the saturation down, again, just because I want these to kind of fade into the background. But adding just like that warmth of yellow to the hands really makes them, 80% less creepy. So once I get this all to where I'm happy, I'm going to pull up my contrast a bit. I'm feeling like this picture is pretty darn cute. And you can actually see it side by side. This is the way that I sent it into brand. I was apparently feeling really light, bright, and white. But yeah, just a huge difference from that super basic background that we started with, where the background was, here we go, we'll do it again. So we've got this, or we have this as the raw file. So if you are ever wondering, you know, is it worth it to get Lightroom? Isn't it just all about capturing the perfect picture in your camera? Well, that's a huge part of it. But damn, the magic that you can have happening in your life when you edit right. So anyway, there you go. Play with your blues, and oh my gosh, make yourself a blue background. And if you have any photos that you use this trick on, go ahead and post it below. I'd love to see. Happy day, you guys.